record it. Okay. All right, so if anybody has anything to say, put something in the chat, which I am able to observe on my mobile phone, but I'll be talking to the screen at the moment. You can't see me. So I'm sending my good wishes to everybody, wherever you are. Most of you, I think, are in Northeast India. I'm speaking from Melbourne, Australia, from my home. It's a beautiful sunny winter's day. So it's around 13 degrees outside. It's a little bit cold, but actually for winter, it's really a beautiful day. And today I'm going to talk about a topic which is really important to me, and that is the matter of supporting language diversity. So what do we mean by language diversity, and what kind of language diversity do we have in, for example, Northeast India and the Batgai Ranges spreading over into Myanmar or Burma? Well, language diversity means different words for the same thing, for the same entity, but it also means different grammatical structures, and it doesn't mean that there is one word for the same thing in different languages. So, for example, we know that in English we have words for uncle and aunt. We can also call aunt auntie, but actually in Assamese you have, I think, more than 2 words to cover the brothers and sisters of your parents. So different languages actually talk about different things. They actually give more information or different information. I haven't time to talk today about what those differences between languages are, but I do want to talk about what kind of diversity we have got. So here on this second slide, which I've called Language Diversity in Northeast India and the Batgai Ranges. Now I apologize, not everything in Northeast India is on this slide. In order to make it visible and easy to read, I have left out a little bit of Lower Assam, and it doesn't go down all the way to Tripura. But you get the idea. And this is a map created by the ethnologue showing different languages. And there's quite a lot of them even on this map. So if we were asked how many languages are there in the Northeast, we could just count those different numbers here. But I've put an arrow pointing to number 194, which on ethnologue is called Naga Tase, and which in Northeast India we usually call Tangsa, and which in Myanmar is called Tangshang, because that's actually not one single language. Like, there's a lot of variety and diversity within what we call Tangsa or Tangshang. So actually there's so much variety within all of those circles that there are more languages than what we see. And you will also see that there are different colors. So the ones which, and this doesn't include Assamese. Assamese is a language spoken almost throughout this area, and Hindi as well in many parts of this area. But what you will see with it, and in the white part, it is claimed almost exclusively you will get Assamese. And even that may not be the case. But you will see the different colors, the yellow color, which refers to Assamese-based Creoles and Pidgins. They're important languages, but I won't spend a lot of time talking about them today. And then the Austroasiatic languages in the light green, that is Khasi and Garo in Meghalaya. The darker green for Tai Kadai languages, so the Aiton and the Khamti and the Pake, and the purple color for the different Tibeto-Burman languages. But they are so diverse, they don't understand each other. Basically, none of the 100 or so Tibeto-Burman languages on this map are likely to understand each other. So many of these languages are endangered. And what does that mean? Well, it can mean the language is not used anymore as a mother tongue. A good example of this is Dayahom. Dayahom survives as a ritual language in the Soklong marriage and in the Medamepi prayers that many of you will be aware of, but it is not spoken as a mother tongue by people in the houses. Many people are trying to revive it, and that's important work, but it is no longer spoken as a mother tongue. In the past, people have called these dead languages, but they're not really dead because they're important to the community and they exist in many aspects. Or you can have languages that are now only used by older people and are not used by the younger generations as a mother tongue. And the best example I know of that is Dai Kam Yang. There are many others. She's really spoken by older people in one village in Bawaimuk, near to Margarita. Now that was true 20 years ago, and it's still true today, but Kamyang, and there are people working to revive the Kamyang language, but still, it is a language which is, an old-fashioned word for this was moribund, but it is a language which is perhaps reviving, but that is the situation. Or you can have younger people mixing their mother tongue with languages like English, Hindi, Assamese, due to schooling, government, TV. Or you can have languages that are still spoken every day, but some aspects of them are being lost, like traditional songs or traditional stories, because people prefer to watch TV in Assamese or Hindi or English rather than to listen to the old people tell their songs. So we can think about supporting language revitalization. Now, this is a very big topic, and I'm not going to talk about this in great detail because that could be a whole other talk, but language revitalization includes teaching mother tongue languages in schools. But when you have that many mother tongue languages, as we have just seen on the map earlier, it's going to be very difficult to teach them all in schools. Or encouraging parents to use mother tongue with their children, this will help. Making materials in language, storybooks, primers, or some people call primers, books for teaching language, books about traditional knowledge, and those who have adopted Christianity or Buddhism or Hinduism, books relating to the religion in your language, prayer books, hymn books, etc. A lot of communities are doing this kind of work, and we can all support each other to do more. So I really want to talk today mostly about language documentation. So what's that? Well, it's the part of the language work that I can mostly do, and it is collecting information about language, preserving it, putting it somewhere safe so that it can be accessed in the future. It can be studied now, but it will also be present in the future. So what kinds of things do we record? Well, words for every kind of thing, and eventually build a dictionary. We try to discover how the grammar of the language works, that is, how words are put together to make meaning, but also to record traditional stories, creation stories, history and songs, and explanations of traditional culture. So what was, for example, the custom when a child was born? What are the marriage customs? How was this traditionally done? What were the reasons for it? How do we prepare different types of food? How do we plant the paddy fields or the jum fields? And how do we deal with pests? And all those kinds of things. Traditional knowledge that needs to be preserved. So why are we doing this? Well, for one reason we might be doing this is so that we can understand better what human language is capable of. But we're also doing it because it's important for our identity as belonging to different communities. Now, some communities don't have a lot of information about their language. And the example I want to talk about today is Moran, because in Moran, we have just one single publication with one word list, and these are all the Moran words that correspond to English words beginning with the letter A. This is all of them, right? So, we have a word for adze, a type of cutting tool, and a small one. We have arrow, we have ants, we have acid and alkaline. But there are so many A words we don't have. We don't have, can we think of words we might need to cover meaning which begin with A, but which those words are lost? I mean, there are hundreds of concepts beginning in English with the letter A that we presumably do not have a Moran word for, like aunt, or all, or afraid, and you could probably come up with hundreds more. So if Moran language was still around today, hopefully someone would be out there recording it, would be out there making a bigger word list. We're very glad that Major Gurdon recorded these words. It's something, but we need more. So one of the things we can also do is to write languages down. And I have put here 6 words. They all refer to the same thing. And some of you will probably know already what this refers to because you are speakers of these languages. But I'm going to, you can do a little test. Unfortunately, I can't take answers from you as I'm talking, but you can do a little test as to what languages these are. Now, I know Poppy Gogoy is listening in, and if she gets the first one wrong, I'll be surprised. But the first one is Dayahom. The word would be pronounced something like Su. Then this is a Shetu Tangsa, spelling of a word meaning the same thing in the system that has been developed in Burma, the Tangshan Naga Unified Orthography, a single way of writing all the languages. This would be pronounced something like Chit. This is a Mashaung Tangsa word in a slightly different Romanized orthography created by the Reverend Gam Win, Cha. This is the Taipake version of this, Sir, and this is in fact the word for tiger, for those of you who don't yet know the answer to that. And here we have Cha, the Mashaung word, written in the Tangsa, in the Mashaung variety of Tangsa, written in the script created in 1990 by the late Lakum Mosang. The late Lakum Mosang is one of 2 leaders of the Tangsa community in Northeast India or experts, we might say, who have passed away just in the last 2 weeks. And so I wanted to mention him today, and I have been working with Wanglung Mosang on making a video teaching this script. And finally, we have the word Shaknu, which is the Wancho word for tiger in the script created by Banwang Losu. And I know that right now, Banwang is undertaking a course with students in Longding district to teach this script. Okay, so writing our language, one of the things we have to be able to do is to write the distinctive sounds. So in English, we have p and b. So pat means gently stroking something, like a dog, and bat is a type of mammal that flies in the night. But to express the words, the 4 Assamese words that are shown on this table in English, we have some difficulty. And we have difficulty because English only has a p and a b. We can put an H next to them, but it's a little bit unsatisfactory. The Assamese script does this much better because it has bo, po, bo, and bo. Not that I can pronounce this last one very well, because the words which are written with as pal, pal, etc., they mean different things. And Asifa Begum has pronounced these for me so that you can hear them. You all know how they are pronounced, but they would all need to be written differently to properly be able to catch the way that Assamese is.
Pal, pal, bal.
Now, just let me know if the sound of that actually came up, because I couldn't hear it here, and that's because I am... So was everyone able to hear the sound of the 4 Assamese words? If you didn't, please send a message. I'll play them again while I'm waiting for someone to respond.
Pal, pal, bal, bhal.
The point is that with these 4 words, meaning to rear, to split, a male child, and good, we need to be able to write them differently. And the traditional English alphabet doesn't allow that. So that's why it is important to make sure that these distinctions can be heard. So I hope that everyone was able to hear that those different pronunciations that Asifa did for me. I think what I might do very quickly is to turn my sound back on so that I can hear them. Make sure that you can too. Okay, it's, doing these kinds of lectures by Zoom and Facebook, it's a little bit challenging because I can't be knowing what you are speaking. So let's listen to them one more time.
Pal, pal, bal, bhal.
Okay, these are 4 different sounds. We hear them as differently. You know they are all different. They are written with different letters in Assamese. If we look at people pronouncing them, they will close their mouth. Bal, pal, bal, bhal. To produce these sounds, you have to close your lips in every case. They have that in common, but they have other features that are different. And every language of Northeast India deals with this differently. Okay, so what can we do? What can you do? You can be recording the people in your village and community who know the traditions, stories, and songs. If you have any kind of recording device at all, you can do this. If you have a really nice recorder, a really nice video camera, or a really nice sound recorder, you can do it with that. But even if you don't, you can do this and help to preserve your language. And here's how. The simplest way that we can do this, and I have learned this from Wanglung Mosang, and this is an extract of some discussions that I had with him. He was explaining that it has been rather rainy in Northeast India recently. Here in Melbourne, where I live, we are in winter and we are just getting no rain at all. So it's all with you. But on your mobile phone, on your Facebook Messenger, there is a little symbol down here on the bottom left that looks like a microphone. You can press that. You can record yourself speaking, or you can record your auntie or uncle telling a story or singing a song. And then when they have finished, you simply press, and now we look on the right-hand side, you simply press on that arrow, because this on the right-hand side is a screenshot of me making a recording, which I was going to send to Wanglung. You can press that and send it to me, or send it to anyone. And if you do that, then we will have information about, we will have more information about your language. But while making recordings is easy, we need to collect information about them. And there's an important reason for this. If we have a recording and we don't know anything about it, we may not know what language it's in, or who is speaking, or what they are talking about. And that information we call metadata, the who, where, when, what, and how of language. So these are what are the things we need to talk about. The name of the person speaking, and maybe a little more information. How old they are, where they were born, what languages they are known to speak. Where, the location, the village name, the district, maybe. When, the date, and maybe the time. What is more complex? What is on that recording? You can simply say recording of a traditional song, or you might want to give a translation of that song. And finally, or something in between, tell what it's about. And finally, the device you use, the how. In my case, if I used my mobile phone, it would be a Samsung Galaxy J3 Pro. Maybe information about the conditions. So if it's raining constantly outside and you are hearing the sound of rain coming while you are recording, you can say that. So I'm going to give you an example. And this is a very timely example because this is a recording of the late Mohen Chumbu of Pulbari. as I would say, a treasure of the Rira or Ronrang language, who passed away yesterday at the age of at least 90 years and quite possibly a lot more. He is on the left there, and he will be singing a song. And I want to play a little bit of this. And remember that now that he has passed away, if we had not recorded this song, what would we have? It only goes on for a moment.
Smoke sama ngatang solo veole dia ngachodole yang chole lablo labma yudung po sablo sabma avanglo.
I feel a little sad in watching that. I made this recording 12 years ago, the first time that I visited Pulbari village. And to think that this dear man has passed away. His funeral is going on today itself. Okay, but what is the information that we would have wanted to collect about that recording? So, the Who, Mohen Chumbu, born in Myanmar about 1930, died at Pulbari, Assam, 22nd of July 2020. Where? Pulbari village, Jagun, Tinsukia district, Assam, in the garden of Mr. Womjong, the other person standing there, when? 29th of December 2008 in the afternoon. Now the what of this recording, so it's a Vihu song, also called a Satvi song, sung by Mohen and Womjong. The basic text was sung by Mohen, and Womjong's words were to clarify that Mohen was singing correctly. We could put more information. We could put a whole translation of the text. But any information about the recordings we do is better than nothing and helps to preserve these things. And how? It was recorded on a Panasonic video camera. What do we do with these recordings after we make them? So one thing we can do, once we have this metadata, this information of who, where, when, what and how, we can put it into an archive. So there are several of these archives, and I can talk more about those another time because I want to finish this talk soon. It's long enough. But those archives will preserve things for the long term, so that hopefully when our grandchildren's grandchildren go looking for information about their languages, they will find it. Or, and I shouldn't say or here, but maybe and, we can put onto YouTube where members of the community can also access them. And I'm doing both of these things, but slowly because it is time consuming. So the final message for me today is simply this. If you make recordings of your language following this kind of method, I'll make sure they are archived and preserved. And some of the students in Northeast India, from Guwahati University and other places will help out with this. Okay, so that's going to be the end of my talk. Now I'm going to try and go back to my Facebook page, and if people have questions or comments or want to say something, now is the time to do it. But I'm going to stop the recording and stop the screen sharing so you can again see me. Okay, so first.